try some portraits in nature. We'll see how it goes. I should be, using a good microphone, but I'm not.
For this photo shoot, I stuck to essentially my own backyard at Tyler State Park. If you look on this little nifty map, this entire session takes place in this little horn area on the lake, on the shoreline, and it just right inside the woods from the parking lot, actually. And that's where I am with Meredith.
Got the Canon EOS A2 and Minolta XL401 Super 8 camera. My lens is really dirty. I've got to fix that, don't I? It doesn't matter if it gets a tiny bit
She was styled by Caitlin at Alex and Afton Vintedge, soon to move to Dallas, Texas. Check them out. And yeah, I brought a film camera and a Super 8 camera and wound up using only the Super 8 for a handful of clips, which you probably won't see for 2 months because it's Super 8 and that stuff takes forever to develop and scan, and I'm not going to just blow through it. I actually brought a flash along this time, but the sunset was just so nice coming through the woods, and I just wanted to let the natural light do the talking. It was coming in at a great, almost 45-degree angle from the side here, cutting through the trees, creating some interesting dappling. The contrast wasn't terrible, and I just didn't think there was much I could add to it that wouldn't look too fake. And I also had my star filter / soft focus filter that I've been using, and I wanted to just see if it was enough to go with. And yes, I did not use the Switchpod on this shoot. I thought maybe with all the tall vegetation that a little tripod was not going to be the best idea.
Okay. So do you want me to like slowly do that?
Yes. Why not let you know?
In hindsight, I probably could have used it, and that would have been one less thing to lug around, at least as far as the size goes. It's like tools aren't supposed to cover every task. You just want a tool to cover enough tasks to make its purchase worthwhile. So I did spend a couple $100s on that tripod, and it was 10 years ago now. And do I use it every shoot? No, but I'm not gonna write Manfrotto hate letters. So I bought the Switchpod, and you can't expect it to cover everything, but you want it to make the tasks that you do easier, which we'll find out if it does. Things like cameras will actually make you money, and spending extra money on that can actually get you more money in the long run. Part of this skirt was a long sheer piece that Caitlin picked out specifically to drape over her face on various shots. And we tried a few things, and this isn't actually the easiest thing in the world to light, but I got a few that I really like. And the theme of this was to try to do something that was not necessarily the tourist photo. And yes, there's a lady in the woods, and that's a thing, but that's also my thing, and that's part of the point. So if I were to involve a pretty lake at sunset, I would need to say a little bit more than I did.
Oh, really?
My favorite was this Picasso tribute. And we missed a good chunk of this because my battery died and I was concentrating on getting a shot and didn't change it.
Yeah.
We stuck to this tall grass or whatever this is. And then at the end, I just couldn't pass up this really beautiful tree on this tall hill. Just the composition was so sparse and beautiful and angular and had the fall leaves in it. And I posed her, and she had originally leaned against the tree. And I thought she melded too much with the tree compositionally, so I had her leaning against it so she would stand distinct from the tree. And I really like how it turned out. Now, let's find out if that Switchpod was worth it at all, or if I discovered right off the bat that it was not worthwhile. Here I am in my car with the Switchpod. I'm going to record this on my phone to show you what I'm looking at. This is a little bit of inception right here, isn't it? I'm about to go out to a park, and I'm going to fly my drone a bit because I haven't in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to discharge the batteries to get everything back on track.
I always forget that there's a trailhead just down the street from my house. So the flashlight. Apparently I'm going to go into a Blair Witch thing instead of testing my drone. I think it was some high wind damage that knocked down some trees that made this area open. That windstorm knocked these huge trees over, and these were the huge trees that had been making this inaccessible before, so this is all freshly uncovered. First impression of the Switchpod, I like it. After I solved the lack of articulating camera mount problem, I really like it. So I'm making a little Instagram photo here for my long-term shadow series. You'll notice the main modification I've made is this little tripod head right here, which it gives you some articulation, and it's made of aluminum, so it's actually not that heavy. It's very easy to switch up, and it actually gives me that flashlight lantern mode that I'm showing you. And it gives you the view here where I'm recording my dogs Maggie and Lola, and this low angle. Apparently you can do like a sling under thing too, but I really haven't had any major need for that right now, but maybe we'll see. I could see the use for getting an even wider angle lens for this, for my Fuji. I could also see the appeal of getting something that has a flip out screen. It did indeed fold up quite easily from the tripod state, which is definitely good. Out and about vlogging for me is not my main thing. It's however good to have for BTS stuff, but usually BTS stuff I'm kind of locked down trying to do the actual photo session instead of just you know, trying to get a creative shot of myself. I can see if the neighbors will hate me for doing this. I'm going to go this way this time. Everything balances well. It's a little sweep on the handle. It's actually really good. It does put it at a good distance, at a comfortable distance. Folds up. First I was worried that the mechanism that allows the legs to swing might be a little rickety, but it isn't. I would say the Switchpod, after having traveled with it, I barely noticed it in my bag. I had a smaller ball head on it, a cheaper one, which was not good. It just didn't support much weight. It was really cheap though. Even after holding it up all this time, this isn't particularly heavy. With the Fuji mirrorless X-T2 and a little Movo travel mic on it, it's not that bad. And the articulation of this ball head allows for nice flashlight angles. And apparently, like I said, you could get underslung. You have the little things on the little mounts for additional gear, which I wouldn't mind terribly mounting my microphone on, but then the only downside is they swing around when you unfurl the tripod. But it's not bad. And I would say the Switchpod is worth what I paid for it, which is the pre-order price was when Peter McKinnon shared it, his video, and some other people did. It's easily worth that. It's $100 retail, which I won't regret it at all if I did spend $100 on it. It's better than the Manfrotto tripod I tried. It's better than larger tripods. It seems a lot more stable than the Joby GorillaPod. It's definitely a lot more stable than the GorillaPod knockoff I got, which was fine for phones, but for a camera like this, just wasn't going to cut it. And the only downside is they don't give you that ball head. Maybe they could offer like a $10 or $15 ball head that they approve, and you could buy a kit for a little bit more. That would probably be okay, but I still say customize your ball head, because if you have like an Arca Swiss plate or something like that, that would be nice. And that's the one thing I wish I had, like a universal plate to use on this little articulating ball head, but otherwise it's fine. For the moment, I feel really good about it. So thanks for watching. Hope that was useful for you. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. If you aren't, I hope you have a great day and a great week. I'll be back next week with a really kind of wild and I think really fun idea that might stretch to 2 parts if that gives you any idea how wild and crazy it is. If you like what you see and you want more behind the scenes stuff, more practical commentary or practical reviews, as I like to call them, of equipment and things like that, subscribe and turn on notifications. Like the video if you enjoy it. Check out my playlist, watch my old videos. I try to make them evergreenish, which means that you can watch them at any time and hopefully you'll get something out of it most of the time. And I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.